grew up in Mumbai, represented his country 230 times across 80 tests and 150 ODIs. He made 1500s, 40 50s, nearly 7,000 runs, including a memorable SCG double ton. As a coach, he was an emblem of a new, aggressive India, memorably forming a duo with Virat Kohli that took on opponents and, among other things, breached the Gabba fortress. As a commentator, he's indisputably world-class. He's regarded by fans and peers as among the best to do it. He's a man of looks, aura and power. He fronts campaigns that say, I am hottie, I am naughty, I am 60. He's sitting right next to me and I haven't looked at him yet. And that's why he was the first professional cricketer to perform in front of 1,000 people on New York's Broadway. No doubt his highest career moment alongside two idiots. It's a special moment for TGC and among our highest privileges to have an hour with one of cricket's most significant people, Ravi Shastri. Ravi, I can look at you now. Welcome to The Grade Cricketer.
Pleasure. It should be fun. With you two, it should be fun, just like it was at Broadway.
What were your memories of doing Broadway on New York? You know, of everything that you've done in your career in front of 1,000 people who were there to see us, to be fair, but it was a day after the India-Pakistan game.
I think it was special because I never expected Monday night after an India-Pakistan game that there'll be that many people. You know, and little over 1,000 people, and it was fun. You know, it's a great stage. It's historic. It's world famous, you know, and to get onto Broadway and perform live, and you guys, you know, got it really going because you needed someone with that kind of energy to pull it off. It's not easy. It's one thing to sit here and talk, and it's something being recorded and you put it out. It's another thing doing it on stage, live. That's why you ask a lot of these Bollywood actors. You know, they'll say they get stage fright. When there's theatre, yeah, they'll get stage fright. He said, if it is a movie, you know, you have a chance of the take, retake, and giving the perfect take. Not when it's live. Not with you two. There's no chance. There's no comeback then, you know.
Well, it was a hell of a night, Ravi. We had a good time. I don't remember a single thing. Ravi, let's talk coin tosses. Yeah. Are you writing your own lines? I could run through a brick wall when Ravi Shastri's at a coin toss. He's getting me going. For some reason, my shirt's off. I've blacked out, and it's 3 days later, and the game's been gone. Are you doing your own lines for the? Are you writing your own lines for the coin tosses?
No, I don't even think about it. You know, when I get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Or sometimes if it's a big game, you know, probably the night before something comes to your mind, and you say, you know, just make that bullet point, and then revolve around that.
Yeah.
I like to keep it simple because if you try and write too many lines there, that's the worst place to try and pull it off. You know, when the countdown begins and it's live, last thing you want is you to go blank in the head. You know, then things can get messy.
Yeah.
What has been your favourite, most energetic, memorable coin toss to do? I'm guessing it wasn't the recent India-Pakistan fixture in the Asia Cup.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. I think India-Pakistan World Cup was big in the States.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, in New York, I thought the India-Australia one was big, World Cup final. And then, of course, some of the IPL finals, you know, where you get crowds. And you love doing it when there are big crowds, like at the G or at the SCG or at Lord's, for that matter, even at the Oval. It's different. But there again, in Australia, you can be loud because the crowd love it. In England, you might just have to be somewhere in the middle. And in India, you can go berserk because you jolly well be loud because they're already making so much noise there. The 100,000. So get them going.
Do you warm your voice up beforehand? You've got a beautiful baritone.
No, I don't.
Do you sing?
Probably it's the red wine from the previous.
Just get a bit of gravel.
That's just, you know, about kicking in at the right time.
Yeah, that's it. We did, before, with the Broadway show, we actually had to ask a few of your people what your preferred drink was, and they were like, just nice red wine for Ravi. So that's the warm-up.
Yeah.
It certainly is.
Yeah, nice.
And that's what Australia taught you from a very young age. You know, apart from my vocabulary, you know, improving, you know, after every series.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Reds were good.
Nice.
Ravi, Jay Shah is everywhere. I'm not sure if you saw the World Test Championship final video. He's doing slow motion stuff, walking in and out of boxes. He's cutting ribbons at Lords. Is this, he's writing the best scripts, of course. Is this Jay Shah supremacy in action that I'm seeing?
Yes, yes. And let me tell you, he's very, very quick on the uptake. Because he's young, and when he took over as secretary of the BCCI, I was quite amazed. First with his enthusiasm, two with how quickly, he summed up the whole situation of what the BCCI was all about, and how to take everyone along with him, which even the ICC will find out very quickly. So, and when he took over, it was in COVID times. I was the coach of the team. And he would literally call up every day or every second day to know how the players are, how they're feeling, is everything okay? Because it was tough times. Everyone knows about it. And, but again, very quickly, he summed up the whole thing and was really quick on the uptake. So I'm not surprised, he became the chairman of the ICC, and he'll do a good job of it as well. He'll take everyone along. People might think it'll be India, India, India. No. Rest assured, he'll take the others along.
As we go to air, Ravi, there's a white ball series between Australia and India kicking off this Sunday. So much of this white ball series is being billed as a chance to say goodbye to Virat and Rohit, and I think that would be the case for lots of us as well. We've loved seeing both of those guys out here. They're huge presences, right? But this is Shubman Gill's side now, isn't it? And so let me ask this respectfully. Beyond Virat and Rohit, who else should Australians be looking forward to seeing out here in the ODIs and the T20s?
I think Shubman Gill himself, as captain, he's thrived on it. He's thrived on the responsibility, as one saw in the Test series in England. So he'll be there. There's Tilak Varma there. Of course, there's Abhishek Sharma, who's a gun player in the T20 format. He'll go for it from the outset. There's Jaiswal. He might make the side, might not make the side. It just shows the bench strength India have. He's a quality player. Will get into any side in the world. But here again, who does he open with? If Abhishek is opening, there's Sanju Samson there, there's Shubman Gill there in the T20 format, there's Rohit Sharma. In the 50-over format, there's Virat Kohli breathing down their neck to come in at number 3. So, if guys like Shreyas Iyer and Jaiswal can't get into a T20 side, it just goes to show the bench strength India have.
India were essentially a home ODI World Cup final away from Rohit's captaincy legacy, including a T20 World Cup, a Champions Trophy, I guess 2 World Test Championship finals in there as well. But it's so he's almost completed the entire set, really. I mean, even without the ODI World Cup in 2023, which they were almost perfect in that 15-1, I think they went. It's still been quite some career as captain for Rohit, hasn't it?
Oh, no question about it. No question. And he's won Asia Cups in the middle as well. He's won IPL trophies as well. Much like MS Dhoni. MS won everything. He won all the 3 ICC trophies. He won multiple IPLs. He won the Champions League as well. So he did with MS it was the full Monty. He covered everything. Rohit too. Because he's calm. And both of them are outstanding white ball captains. I won't say the same when it comes to Test cricket because the attention span is not the same.
Sure.
But when it comes to white ball, they're very, very quick. They think on their feet. They know there's a limit to the game, whether it's 20 overs or 50 overs. And they're very good at it.
It might just be an online thing, Ravi, but there seems to be like Kohli fans and Rohit fans. I find it odd because they play for the same team. Were there Shastri and Azharuddin fans when you played?
Oh yeah, there would be. There would be Kapil Dev fans, Shastri fans.
Why is that?
just likes and probably where you come from, which state you come from, which team you're playing for. Like a lot of Virat fans will be RCB fans.
Right.
A lot of Rohit fans will be Mumbai fans as well.
Yeah.
Plus where they come from, the way they carry themselves. And it's always been the case. But to be honest, with these two players, the fans are universal.
Yeah.
You can't really say Rohit or Virat. Both have a big fan following. MS had a huge fan following. And that's the case in India. But give it to them. When you perform like that over a span of time, over a decade, I mean, they're white ball giants.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're seeing here is in their final series is two absolute champions. On their last tour of Australia.
So they've both, Virat and Rohit, they've both retired from Test cricket. They've both retired from T20 cricket, but they haven't retired from ODI cricket. Is it fair to say that they're hoping to push through because there's some unfinished business there for both of them in relation to a 50-over World Cup?
Yeah, I would imagine so, because they want to be finish off on a high, hopefully in South Africa, 2027. There again, it's still a long way to go, so form, hunger, passion, how their bodies will take it. It's much like Steve Smith. He can carry on for another couple of years, but when you reach that stage after achieving what you have, it's the desire and the hunger and the enjoyment. If those three are there, then don't be surprised if they, do it. Because fitness-wise, there's no problem with Virat. And you see Rohit now, he's really worked. When you see him now, he's lost a lot of weight. He's worked hard on his fitness. So obviously, that hunger, that desire is there since they're playing only one format of the game.
Do you, it occurs to me from the outside that those two players in particular have achieved a level of profile that might even make it hard to drop them. I mean, from my perspective, even Rohit missing the SCG test owing to form last year, still had some strange messages around how that happened. It wasn't a straight non-selection. If those two guys aren't able to make it to the ODI World Cup because there's a lot of pressure on them from younger guys, do you think the power is there to drop them?
Yeah, in the sense, obviously you need performances, and if someone's really not in nick, then questions will be asked. But these two guys are not there, just to fill in the numbers. They get an opportunity, they'll dig deep. They're experienced enough. They've got the hunger. The fact that they want to play means they want to perform. So it's not going to be that easy. And, public memory is very short, especially in our part of the world. We have 1.5 billion only people. So, what happens on a Tuesday stays on Tuesday. They can forget that very quickly. If you look at the Champions Trophy, it's the last time India played a one-day series. India are champions. Rohit was captain. Virat, quarter-final 100, semi-final man of the match, and finally did pretty well. So they've not played after that. So, but because of the amount of T20 cricket that's being played, a series has happened in England, meanwhile. So, suddenly, questions are being asked, should they play, not play? The last tournament was a Champions Trophy. So they're playing after 3 months when there's an opportunity to play one-day cricket. So sometimes I think how those questions even come. But that's how the game is evolving with the three formats of the game, and that's where the memory span, attention span is not the same. So I feel they have a point to prove. And they'll be out there. They know who's nipping them on the heels. There's some good youngsters there, so they're not going to let it go that easily.
I'll tell you who I find interesting, Ravi. It's Jadeja, who's not being picked in.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, who's not being picked in this because I find him his career quite interesting. Generally speaking, he's a three-format player. He, if not currently, at least for a period of time, has been the best fielder in the world. And he is probably in red ball cricket. As a home product, a home player, maybe the best that's ever played the game. Unbelievable at home. Him and Ashwin, of course. But there's also he's got 100 in the last Test match, the second last Test match Manchester, that was.
Yeah.
And he's not been picked here. He's 37, and I saw the coach, Ajit Agarkar, said, well, we don't need two left-arm spinners in Australia. His non-selection here doesn't mean that he will miss in South Africa in a couple of years' time, even though he's 37. But I find that interesting because I would imagine that these conditions in Australia are perhaps as close to South Africa without being in South Africa that you could play in. I also know that when he was captaining for a period of time when MS was still playing for CSK, he found that very difficult, and I think that he found that he didn't quite get the respect that he felt that he deserved as an incredible player. When MS was there, because MS is CSK, you know, that is the whole thing. He's a fascinating player, isn't he? Because someone that's achieved everything in the game.
Oh, he's a terrific cricketer. You know, he's a gun player, and you know, it took him a while. You know, he's got two double hundreds, two triple hundreds in first class cricket.
Yep.
But it took him a long time to realize and have that self-belief he can do that in Test match cricket as well. You know, and then once he was sent up the order, you know, that's when he grabbed the opportunity. He realized he can get those big runs. And like you mentioned, in India, on those tracks, sometimes when the ball is turning, an overseas player, he'll give him sleepless nights, no matter how big a player he is, because he's at you all the time. He's either hitting your pad or knocking the stumps over, and it comes at you at pace. You know, he doesn't. There's not too much filth around there. He's, you know, on the money most of the time. And then, of course, his fielding. So he is in the game all the time. So I'm a little surprised, but I think the selectors have spoken to him, as has the team management. And he knows he said, you know, I would have loved to go to Australia, but they've had a chat with me. So obviously what you said makes sense, in the sense that we can't take two here, but in a World Cup, we can take two, because we are not just playing Australia. We are playing some other teams as well, and the conditions might differ in South Africa at different venues. You know, so there I won't be surprised if he goes again. Depending, he'll be 39.
39, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that easy.
Yeah.
We're halfway through like a World Cup cycle for ODI cricket, but T20 World Cup's around the corner, so I feel like this series is going to be two teams kind of finalising their preparations with some really hard cricket against each other. Who's key for India in T20 cricket at the moment?
I think Abhishek Sharma. You know, he's the one who will capture everyone's imagination. He will, because he's the kind of player, he goes for it from the outset. He doesn't care for reputation. He again backs himself. You know, he's got a wide range of shots, and just the typical left-handers flourish. You know, high back lift, big follow through, and just smacks it. Some of the shots he's played, you know, quite incredible. You know, one shot always lingers in my mind. This was Jofra bowling to him at the Wankhede Stadium in an IPL game. And second ball of the back foot, he does something like this, and it's gone over extra cover point into the crowd, flat as a tank. And when you play shots like that, it can demoralize opposition. You know, and then you got, at the other end, you had Sanju Samson for a while. So, you know, it would be a double whammy at both ends. It'll be interesting to see who opens here, Shubman opens here, or someone else. But that'll be one classic contest, because Australia is a very strong T20 side. I think Australia's batting lineup is pretty strong. So there's going to be entertainment there.
And what about Rinku Singh, Ravi? I think he's a great inclusion. He's a wonderful finisher. He actually inflicted some pain on me a few years ago. Higos and I were commentating an IPL game. It was Kolkata and Gujarat, and Kolkata needed 29 from the final over. And I said to Higos on comms, professionally, if he does this, I'll tattoo my, you know, take a guess. And then he hit 5 sixes.
Well, was it painful?
Well, I answer the question in a live show. So I feel like Rinku's a good player.
He's a good finisher. I hope your job was finished properly.
Believe me, I get asked about it a dozen times a day from Rinku Singh and other fans. I said I answer it in the live show.
And he's a brilliant fielder. You know, he brings energy. He came onto the field in the Asia Cup final, right? And he was all over the place. He took catches. You know, hit the winning run. So, he brings some energy into that team when he's there. Yes.
After the defeat in the Border Gavaskar series in Australia, Ravi, it was 3-1, of course. There's a whole bunch of new rules which were introduced by Gigi, the coach, Gordon Gambier, of course. So, players had to play domestic cricket. They couldn't bring managers, assistants, or chefs on tour. There were baggage limits. Now, I presume when you were coach, not that long before, all of this stuff was sort of going on as well. Like, how did you see this?
Not really. It might have started. I don't remember anyone coming with a chef in my time.
Right.
Because that chef would have been very busy with me. If he had come, I wouldn't have minded one or two.
One chef.
At least the cuisine could have been different over a glass of red after the game. Where you didn't have to go to room service all the time. But, come here, chef. How about a nice whatever. But after a while, on tours, you want to minimize things. When there's too many people around, you tend to get distracted as well.
Yeah.
So obviously he must have seen it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
So just put a limit to what can be done and cannot be done.
How is Gorsham going as coach? It's a tough start with the red ball, white ball going
But
quite
that's
well.
bound to happen. It takes time to understand your players, to know what kind of combinations you should play. The fact that they came back in England to win that last Test match, then win the Asia Cup. That'll help things settle down. But in India, like I said, every series, counts. The fact that they've beaten West Indies now, they've already got 2 Test matches under their belt overseas, makes them firm favourites again to make it to the final of the World Test Championship. Barring something out of the ordinary happen, like last time. When New Zealand beat India at home, which was like a shock to everyone. I think he'll settle down. And he's got, the good thing for him is he's got a captain now. Who's stable, who's composed, who's calm, who's quietly confident about his own ability and is a terrific player. He's the man for the next decade for India. There's no question about that. 25 years of age. You've got Rishabh Pant, who's 26 for Test matches. There's got very good backup there in Dhruv Jurel, who can keep and bat as well. So makings of a good side. I think what he'll be looking out for is a nice bench of fast bowlers. See, with Shami retiring, Bumrah management load, you need another 3 to be groomed very quickly. If India have to again start challenging overseas on a regular basis.
What about Shreyas? Shreyas is finding it hard to get into the national side. He's done such a great job with in the IPL across multiple franchises and skippering, and it feels like after the Virat and Rohit era, he was kind of in the next set of guys who would take that baton as a batter and a leader, but he's finding it hard to get into the national setup there. Would you say that's a combination with Gambier thing, or...?
Obviously, it must be a combination because, I was surprised he was not in the side for the Asia Cup, to be honest. For him and Jaiswal to sit out, everyone has to perform there, game after game. Now he's on the tour for the one-day games. He's the vice captain. So, he obviously would be upset because after what you've just said, his performances, he won the IPL for KKR, then entered the finals of the IPL again. And how do you judge a player? How do you pick a player for India? IPL becomes very important, especially in T20 cricket. If you have a performer like that, the selectors should be watching that. So it's a tough pill for him to swallow, really tough. I hope there's been some communication there with him. Tell him why exactly he's not there, rather than, just letting him think about it and being on his own.
Yeah, and obviously, Ricky Ponting loves him as well. Picked him for Punjab and he spoke really highly of him. I want to ask you about Shubman Gill. My close personal friend Shubers. And I'm just interested in the generational evolution of the Indian team and Indian people, really, generally speaking, because Shubman, he's got the flair and he's got the shirtless selfies, but there's also a steeliness, there's a resolve to him. You might recall you were obviously over there for the Test series against England in this winter just gone, At the beginning of that series, there were some questions about who was in control of that side. Shubman on the field might have made one or two mistakes, but by the end, in that last Test match at the Oval, which India, of course, won in a really close game, he was very much in control and he brought that team together. So that I feel like even in that small sample size of 1 5-test series, there was an evolution of confidence there with Shubman. And from an outsider's perspective, my experience of watching the Indian side, they're always had really good players. India's always had really good players. But when the axis of yourself and Virat got together, there was a skyrocketing. Something changed, I think, in the Indian the cricket team's mindset. And I wonder if you see that as well. That like there's also like this stepping stone between what you perhaps started, or maybe it was before you, and then what Shubman's doing as well. Because Shubman is like the prince, who seems like he could be destined for whatever he wants to do, right? But I mean, how do you see it?
He can be the quiet assassin. You know, he might not show it, but like you use the word, the steel, that came through during that England series. See, with Virat, it was his character, it was my character. You know, we were very clear that we wanted to be aggressive, and we wanted to take the game forward, and we wanted to play to win. So if we toured South Africa or we toured Australia, not for 1 minute did we think draw. The mindset was, how are you going to beat Australia? Or how are you going to beat England or South Africa? The strip is the same for both teams. Now, how do you counter that and beat them? So that's where the planning starts. Get your fast bowlers in, get someone out of the ordinary. That's how Bumrah was thought about and brought in. So there was enough planning there to see how you can take 20 wickets when you travel. And give it as good as you get it. So there's no holding back mentally, you know, against any opposition, which I think Virat brought in. You know, that was the mindset which we wanted to play in that fashion, and it happened. Now, you saw signs of Shubman Gill in this series, you know, when he went after Zach Crawley.
Yeah.
You know, that there was a little bit of aji-baji there.
Yeah.
But it showed inside the guy's ready. You know, he's got the stomach for a fight. You know, he's not someone who will back off. He might not be that as expressive as Virat, but deep down he's got that little, you know, he can be feisty. And it came through in that last Test match as well, you know, especially on that final day. His calmness, the way he controlled things for India to pull it off, get the best out of Siraj, you know, and, you know, win that Test match. So I think he'll get better and better because he'll get the confidence of his players as well.
Just speaking of aggression, Ravi, we had a privilege of speaking to Harsha Bogle in 2022. First time we'd met him, and he was explaining to us the shifting attitudes of young Indians, who, in his words, they proceed in life with a more confidence than perhaps his generation. You know, far less burdened by the shadow of history. They don't accept Anglo-sphere dominance, you know. They give back, they push back, they won't shake Ben Stokes' hand, you know, when he wants the draw and to leave the field, you know. They'll score that 100 facing
but
full
they didn't
tosses.
See it.
Yeah. They'll score hundreds facing full tosses from Harry Brook. But can you talk a bit about, young Indians pushing back, you know, against, and being more confident than they have been before?
Again, it starts with Virat. It started with Virat, you know, I've never seen anyone looking an opponent in the eye and then walking the talk. You know, in that series in 2015 it started, you know, when he was batting and him and Mitch were having a go at each other. And it was exhilarating stuff. You know, there's no backing off. You know, he hit him on the head, first ball in Adelaide. This guy gets 200s in the same test. And then, you know, once you see someone doing that, the others follow suit. They realize that you got to hunt in a pack. I mean, that was my thing from the dressing room. Don't let one guy do it. You know, it's a team game. You know, you got to be in it together. You know, hunt in a pack. You know, let the opposition know that there's not 1 or 2 players out there, there are 11 coming after you. That's when you have some fun. You know, and you play some proper cricket, which the crowds will enjoy. You know, because in Australia, one thing you must remember is if you play hard cricket and competitive cricket, the crowd will respect it. It doesn't have to be an Indian there. Even an Australian will respect it. if you play it in that fashion. Win or lose. And then if you win, then obviously they'll respect you. So and that's the reason why, he's been respected. So a lot of these players who are playing today came during that time. Whether it was Shubman Gill, whether it was Rishabh Pant, whether it was Bumrah, whether it was Siraj, they've all come at that time. And now, the younger players who are coming through the ranks, they're trying to emulate what they're seeing out there in the middle. Plus the fact, you must remember, the youngsters get exposure very early in the IPL.
Yeah.
They're rubbing shoulders with the best in the world in the dressing room. International players, international coaches. Like you mentioned, punters with Kings 11. There are a lot of young players there. The coaches from outside in there. Stephen Fleming is at Chennai. So they're breaking barriers. They don't have that complex anymore. They play in front of big crowds. There's a lot of pressure situations in an IPL, where the last over so many needed, last 3 overs so many needed. So they're exposed to it. So that's why it becomes easier to take it into the middle in international cricket now. A lot easier than it was in our times.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of that exposure.
The recent Test series against South Africa, you might have seen this, but it's been played in front of basically nobody. And Virat's comments from a few years prior have resurfaced. He was saying that Test cricket in India should be played in 5 cricket centres, I think was the language he used. So, so if you have like 5 Test venues that get red ball cricket, then people will come to that and you'll create history and legacy. And because at the moment they play, I don't think Australia's played in one of the main cities for the Border Gavaskar in a long time, for instance. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that Test cricket should be played in like sort of a few main cities, or do you think you should play it everywhere?
See, just watching it from the outside, if you want crowds, then you have to go to the tier 2, tier 3 cities.
Okay.
Who are starved
Okay.
of seeing heroes, the top class cricketers. So the chances of getting crowds are more in those places than the metros.
Interesting.
And the reason I say it, the metros get IPL. So there's you've got to also see the spend of a human being. They'll get one-day cricket, they'll get a full season of IPL. Then there is, and India is a big country. It's vast venues. So I won't be surprised if it start going into, and the facilities are great now. When you look at some of the new stadiums, great facilities. The chances of getting crowds in tier 2, tier 3 cities for Test matches are much more than in a proper metro.
Right. Okay.
And that's the reason why it's being tried out.
Right.
See, if you see now, it's in Delhi, the Test match, as we speak. Hardly any people there.
Right.
There was a Test match before that in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
There were a few, not many. So, so therein lies the question. That's why they want to spread it out and instead give the one-day games to the metros.
Yep.
So that in the big cities, you'll get full houses.
Get people, yeah.
Now, for example, you play a Test match in Calcutta, you won't get more than 20,000, 25,000, 30 max.
Right.
You play a one-day game there, it'll be full.
Yep. Yep.
Ravi, you're a global guy. Everyone sees you around the cricket world. You spend a lot of time in England, a lot of time in Australia in particular. I'm keen to ask you about your sense of the attitudes from people in England and Australia in particular to the ascendant Indian management of the global game. So I've heard it said before, England ran the game for about 100 years.
Yeah.
When Packer came in, Australia ran the game for 40 years. Now India runs the game. India's daddy of cricket. India's the daddy.
Big daddy.
Please get it right, Peter.
Sorry.
Yeah.
India's big daddy.
Yeah.
When it comes to bending the game to India's will, given how much India's had to bend to countries like England and Australia for a long time, do you think there is any sense of, payback in India to go listen, this game will be built around what India's needs are now, and I want to know what your sense of the attitudes of Australians and English people are to that.
I think they're understanding it very quickly. It's all about economics. When we played the game, the economics dictated money that came from overseas into the coffers of the ICC. Today, 80% of the bucks come from India. So they've got every right to call the shots. Tomorrow, it might shift back to the West. then you've got to sit back. But when you know where your bread is being buttered, then you jolly well look in that direction. So which the West are understanding, that it's the East that are calling the shots now. And you've got to look in that direction. At the end of the day, it's filling our coffers as well. It's not that it's only going in one direction. It's helping the others. It's helping the developing nations that come around it. So, it's something that you've got to look at. It might not be the same 10 years down the line. There might be an economic shift to another part of the world. They will rule the roost. Then you've got to sit back and watch.
And do you think that that vision, if the East is calling the shots, to use your term, is club franchise cricket first with international windows? I mean, when I look at conversation in Australia at the moment about privatising the BBL, which will include interest from IPL franchises. I see a cricket schedule that looks like it's being joined up for franchise cricket with some spaces to play international cricket. Would I be right in your mind that that's the vision for the game?
Absolutely right. I've been saying it for the last couple of years. It's going to be more like football, like soccer, where you play your EPLs, you play your Bundesliga, you play your Spanish league, you play Copa America, you have your Euro, do what you want. Very few bilaterals. Every 4 years, a World Cup. That's when you play a few bilaterals between countries before you play a World Cup. It will go that way, which means in one format of the game, very soon you'll have to start cutting down bilateral games. Even though countries that can sustain it, by all means play. But countries that cannot sustain it, there's no point. I would say cut down on the T20s, just have a World Cup because you have it every 2 years. So the same with the one days, and let franchise cricket blossom.
Yeah.
Give it time. If that's the bread earner, if it's giving you enough money that can look after your domestic cricket and grassroots cricket, then by all means do it. I mean, football is a classic example of how it's run. And I see no reason why cricket can't do the same. That's why I keep saying time and time again, make Test cricket into two structures of A and B, 6 teams. You want the best playing against each other. That's when you'll get crowds. When there's a mismatch, no one's going to come.
Yeah,
and it's pointless. How is it a test? Why is it called Test cricket? Because it tests you. But when there's no test, very very soon people will say that's not Test cricket. There's no test.
Us from an Australian perspective, when that I'm just using this analogy, but the monopoly board is complete when clubs, franchise cricket is first, and then countries there are windows for countries. Do you think that there will be an international window in the Australian summer when Australians watch cricket, or do you think that the peak viewing might be reserved for franchise cricket, as Usman recently suggested might be the case? Boxing Day, New Year's, perhaps this will be reserved for franchise cricket, just as it is in England, where the peak window for watching cricket is now the 100, which has just recently taken private investment.
Yeah, see, in countries like Australia, England, to an extent South Africa, but Australia, England, the tradition of Test cricket has stayed. That's why you get crowds. You get full houses. Test cricket is, well served here and in England, because when it comes to Boxing Day, people want to be at the G. After the New Year, you get packed crowds at the SCG, no matter who's playing, as long as Australia is playing. And then if you get a matchup like India or England, you'll get full houses. You'll get sellouts. So I think that should stay, when that's lasted that long. But and what Australia are anyway doing, the Sydney Test starts around the 3rd or 4th, finishes by the 7th. Then you have a whole corridor where actually you can play, BBL. You can start off with a little bit early, and then, that is the period where Test match cricket should be played in Australia and England, because there's a following.
Yeah.
Other countries might change, but not Australia and England. They're rich in history and tradition, and I think they should stick with that.
Just to accentuate the point we're making here, because at the moment, well, the IPL is from March till May.
Yeah.
It's extending to 96 games shortly. But then the MLC in America is in June. The UK tournament, whatever it is, if it stays 100 or the the Blast or whatever it will be, that's August or September. The BBL is broadly between December and January. The SA20 is going to be somewhere either side of that, you suspect. So, and then Test cricket or the international windows, on top of a World Cup, which is every 2 years at the moment for T20s, it seems increasingly lack of space for 3 formats. Would you agree with that? I mean, how does ODI cricket exist?
Is that exactly what I'm saying? Right. That's reduced bilateral cricket.
Right.
So that you have a corridor for each one to have his own league and great. Now, you made a very good point there. You said IPL is March and April. That's literally the end of the Indian season.
Right.
Now, if you pick, like you're mentioning, pick the prime time would be December, January in India. Now, you don't want to play there. You want to play international cricket at that time. So it's fine. Towards the end, you create a corridor. There's no cricket being played anywhere at that time. And England can afford to do it because in the month of August, there's no cricket being played anywhere else in the world because it's raining in the east. In most parts of the world, in countries, whether it's India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, there's plenty of rain around, and that corridor is open to have that. And I think a January corridor is very much open for the Big Bash. It could be 2 parts, like you have 2 sets, do it before the start of the test season, before December, and then have one little, if you want to keep it that long. Though I feel BBL should be cut down. It was, way too long. Be stretched out too long. That can be cut down. But end of the season.
When a lot of these BBL clubs or Cricket Australia open the doors for pitches, for investment into the BBL clubs,
bound to happen.
There's discussion about who should be let into those pitches and stuff. What do you think? There's a danger to Australia's cricketing future if it doesn't sell to IPL franchises like Reliance or GMR, JSW, CVC, Goenka, etc., and if they instead sell to American tech conglomerates and stuff like that? Because the way I see it, Australia's kind of like the last domino to fall. You probably want to be inside the tent, right, of the private ownership that owns everything else.
It's a business. You put out tenders. Who pays the most? Take it. If it's an American techie company that's paying it, take it. If it's an Indian franchise who already has, interest in other leagues, if they have the money, they can afford it, take it. At the end of the day, it's only going to get stronger. Your economy is stronger. You can then go to grassroots and build your game into bigger, and you'll attract bigger players. With the dosh that's on offer, the purse goes up. Then you'll get the best players coming. And now you have, for example, Ravi Ashwin coming now. What stops tomorrow not an A-lister from India or, say the top 25, 30, but someone else, who start coming and playing. Like the women play in the hundreds. You never know in the future. You could have a lot more Indians coming in.
When do you think other countries could expect A-list Indian players to come?
See, A-list Indian players, the problem is they don't have the time. That's why the Indian season IPL starts only in March. To answer your question, it could have been way earlier if you wanted. But then you're eating into the international season.
Do you think that might happen one day though?
About?
Or it might eat into the international season if there's more money.
If there's more money, yeah. It could happen. You could have 6 weeks, and again 6 weeks later in the year. Just like baseball. Though baseball is for me a dying sport. I think cricket. The interest for cricket is huge, and the IPL is getting bigger and bigger. If they have a choice, they can put 2 more teams there, and it'll fly. No problem.
I was saying, Oakwell estimates the IPL's total enterprise value to be over $15 billion US, which isn't bad for 10 teams that play 3 months a year.
Unbelievable.
So what if you...
Yeah.
Let's make it 8 months. I can do the maths on that.
Yeah.
Is that the thinking?
The rise, because the day it started in 2008, I was part of the governing council. And if you told me it will reach heights like it has reached now, you would have never imagined. In the first 3 years of the IPL, the revenue it earned and the eyeballs that it raised made it a case study in Harvard as to what is this? How is it done? So you've got to give Lalit his due for conceptualizing it. The BCCI its due for setting aside a certain amount of money to try this out and to see if it succeeds. And today, it's gone through the roof. It's unbelievable. Everything comes to a standstill at that time. Producers don't release movies because the theaters will be empty. Because come 8 o'clock, it's showtime. It's IPL for 60 days, 70 days.
Incredible. Yeah.
And non-stop.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang. And to be fair, the quality of cricket is outstanding. You've got to give it to the players. The players make it happen. I mean, some of the catching, some of the running between the wickets, some of the shot making, both from Indian players, international players, the commitment from the international players to the cause is fabulous. And it goes across 200 countries. So it's eye-catching. And it's glamour. I've never seen that mix of people. Never in test match cricket, in one-day cricket, where you get Bollywood, you get the advertising crowd, it's a terrific mix. Yeah. Kids, families, it's fun time.
Can we do something about the time zone? Because it's on when most Aussies are asleep.
Yeah. They're mostly asleep, aren't they?
Yeah. It starts at midnight. We watch every ball. We watch every ball.
Midnight, that's when you wake up.
Exactly. Our fans know we watch every ball of the IPL, midnight to 4 a.m. Just saying that, like, the swelling of the TV rights of the IPL, I mean, 6 billion or something, wasn't it? I don't know if I get my numbers wrong there. Because there are so many eyeballs on it, particularly from young Indians, right? Now, does that, I know that's a wonderful thing, that it's got such popularity, that this format is so popular, particularly for young Indians, but a flip side of that is, do you worry that it hurts the popularity of Test cricket?
It will. You can't help it. It's brilliant entertainment. Having said that, when you get a great series that grabs eyeballs, like India, Australia playing is prime time. India, England now in this series. The cricket we saw, prime time. But otherwise, it's IPL. I mean, it's a business. It started off as a small-scale industry. Today, it's a massive industry. I mean, just see the people that benefit out of it. Apart from television crews, cameramen around the globe, there are 5 units going across the country. The hotels are full. The hospitality, food and beverages, aircrafts are full. It's a machine. I mean, when a team was bought, the highest bid was 110, 120 million. Today, the valuation is $2 billion. So if someone wants to sell a team, it's $2 billion. So where's 100 million? Where's 2 billion in 17 years?
Yeah, it's been a bunch.
I mean, that's some turnover, right? Imagine if you had invested, Because,
I had my chances.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm biding my time.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Ravi, I want to ask you about Australian cricket culture from your perspective, because I think that this sort of generation of Australian team, let's call it the last sort of 5 years, they have won everything except they haven't really been close for winning a Test series in India. They also haven't won the Ashes away, but they have won everything else. I think up until about a year ago, they actually held every trophy that was available to them. And yet in the mindset of, I think a lot of Australians, they were like a bit unders. They're a little bit unders, which is extremely harsh. But I suppose like 20 years ago, it was one of the best teams that cricket's ever seen, albeit without the T20 inclusion. So I mean, how do you see Australian cricket culture in that regard?
Fantastic.
Is it too much? Do we want too much?
You want too much because you have set the standards. You've raised the bar time and time again. So and that will happen in any country. When you raise the bar to that level, people get spoiled.
Yeah.
They expect too much. They want him to be like a high jumper. Just takes it 1 inch up. Breaks the record like a Duplantis or a Gupta. 1 inch up, and they're not happy. They want that, but then that's credit to your players from the 70s, 80s, 90s who did it. But it's a great culture, because for me as a player, if you wanted to perform in one place, it was Australia.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when I played the game, I said in the 80s, it was West Indies and Australia. Of course, Pakistan, when you went there, that was, that's because of the rivalry, whatever. But Australia, because of the conditions and the way they play, hard, they won't give you an inch. They'll be in your face and they'll give it to you. West Indies, sheer quality in the 80s. But this was one place you wanted to win. And the fact that India is the only team from Asia that has beaten Australia in a test series in all these years just tells you the standard of Australian cricket. Great teams have come from Asia. Not one team has beaten Australia in a series here, barring India.
Well, under Ravi Shastri.
Under Ravi Shastri, yeah.
Give it to the players. Yes, I was the coach. I feel proud, being part of that entire gang. But it just shows how tough it is. It's not easy. It's like coming to India and beating India in India. It doesn't happen often. So it's the same thing. So it's it's the players and before that who have raised the bar there, big time.
Do you this current Australian team, all three formats really, mostly in the Test, but all three formats, a lot of old boys knocking about in the Australian team. Do you think that Australians, fans, should expect a bit less success for the next sort of few years?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think your team is in transition. Australia is in transition, and one thing they've been very good at, over the years, is how they go about it. Like for example, when they don't wait for someone to really, start going downhill before they think of another player. Sometimes, they're proactive. A classic case was Mark Waugh over Dean Jones. When Dean Jones was there, even though he was doing well, but the planning was the future. Ian Healy could have easily played a couple of years, came in Gilly. So they were extremely good at that, in being ready with the next generation. So I think the time has come now, in all formats of the game, where you've got to be proactive. Otherwise, you'll be found wanting.
Yeah.
I say India have done it well in white ball because of the IPL. You're seeing talent being showcased, but they have to look out for those fast bowlers for the best format of the game, which is Test cricket.
Yeah.
So you've got to be proactive.
Yeah.
You can't wait to be in a hole and then start trying to dig yourself out of it. Anticipate it, that the time will come where you need new talent. And you got to be prepared to take that risk.
I have to ask, you mentioned Pakistan and rivalry before. Suya Kumar Yadav says that there's no rivalry between India and Pakistan anymore because there's just too much on-field dominance. Now, I think administrators of cricket, which is it's amazing when India and Pakistan just get picked in the same World Cup groups. It just random. Yeah, luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw. I think they think there's a rivalry.
But you sure there are more when the draw happens?
Yeah.
You sure there are only 10 chits there, or there are 14 or 15 there with three?
I have no reason to question it. That's very cynical.
No.
What does Ravi Shastri think? I mean, is India and Pakistan still a rivalry? I'm conscious of the complexities of the conflict and that Westerners need to stay in their lane on these things. But is it a rivalry?
See, it doesn't matter what the teams are, what the strength is. The history and tradition of the two countries are such people will watch around the globe. Whether the two teams are equal or one team is dominating, other team is not, there will be eyeballs. But that's because it's the way it's been. It's like the Ashes. Come what may, whether Australia might be beating England 5-0, but there'll be eyeballs. Whether England are the dominant side at some stage, which doesn't happen too often. Right? Certainly not in Australia. No. A good chance this time to make it a little close, but go and ask any Aussie, no chance. I was with a couple in Barangaroo yesterday. What do you think of the Ashes? No way, Rav. I said, no, it might be close. What? No way, man. They're going to get a hammer.
Are you walking up to people in Barangaroo?
I'm not walking up. They came up. And nice of them to come up because they brought me a couple of glasses of red. It tasted
So you
better.
told a couple to get you a glass of red.
It was a waiter.
Yeah.
You got to have some skills off the field also.
Best thing I've ever seen, Ravi. Best sporting event I've ever been to. India, Pakistan, the T20 World Cup, MCG, 2022, 2023, whenever it was. Best event I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Jared Waitley, who was commentating, who's been to the G many times, he suggested that contest might have been the best thing the MCG has ever hosted, which is quite a big thing to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
for a neutral game.
Yeah.
You know, it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I remember when we played the 2015 World Cup in Australia. So I was the coach at that time, director, same thing.
Right.
Adelaide. I've never seen so many people in Adelaide. They brought the roof down. There were drums beating down outside the hotel at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think Adelaide had seen it. It's a nice, relaxed town.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, they would have said, "What's happened here?"
It's too much.
This is too much. You know. And the same thing happened at the G.
Yeah.
And then you saw one of the finest knocks from Virat there that day. You know, cricket was unbelievable. Yeah.
Ravi Shastri, a huge honour to have this amount of time with you. Thank you for your time and
Pleasure.
enduring this, whatever this is. Thanks so much. We'll catch you around the traps, and thanks for your support of Australia during the upcoming Ashes series.
Time flies with you guys, man. Yeah, really. Gee. No, it'll be a good Ashes series, I think. Australia always favourites at home, but I think England have a good chance of competing. They haven't competed in the last 2 or 3 Ashes. They've been blown away. But if they get in early and make an impression, you never know.
England are a good team, but yes, as Ravi Shastri says, they're a good chance of competing.
Competing.
Yeah, I like it. Ravi Shastri, thanks so much.
Pleasure.